There's this impression that halal investing product is less inferior than conventional. Initially, there's a sense of truth, but that was on the basis of, as of Maybank, just to show Maybank. Maybank last year, we only have 2 Sharia unit trusts. This year itself, we have a total of 14 Sharia unit trusts itself. And some of the funds are as good or even better than conventional products.
Hai semua, selamat datang ke TheKayaRaya Podcast. Saya Taisha Khan dan bersama saya adalah
Salihin Samsudin dari RISX.
Dan saya tak represent any company. Saya freelance, pelakon, pengacara dan the host of TheKayaRaya Podcast, Singapore's first Islamic finance podcast. And you want to summarize what we do?
Dan bagi sesiapa yang mungkin baru saja ikuti podcast kami di Kaya Raya, mungkin objektif kami adalah untuk ketengahkanlah isu kewangan yang mungkin rapat dengan kehidupan masyarakat Melayu Islam di Singapura dan juga di serantau. Seperti contoh pelaburan, kewangan Islam, persaraan dan sebagainya. Dan hari ini kita akan mendalami satu topik yang agak menarik, iaitu pelaburan Islam. Ataupun pengurusan kewangan Islam. Dan kami berbesar hati kerana kami ada tetamu istimewa, iaitu Encik Abdul Halim dari Maybank. Encik Abdul Halim, apa khabar?
Khabar baik, terima kasih Salihin, terima kasih Taisha untuk inviting saya di tempat podcast di sini. Nah, saya Halim, saya Ketua Pengurusan Kewangan Islam daripada Maybank Singapura. Dalam pengurusan kewangan Islam, saya baru pada saya, tapi dalam pengurusan kewangan by itself, saya sudah dalam beberapa tahun punya pengalaman, bangga hati untuk dari participate in this podcast.
Anda daripada tim pengurusan kewangan Islam, ya. Jadi apakah pasukan anda selalu buat dalam
pasukan bola sepak?
Squad anda buat, tim anda buat di Maybank?
Pengurusan kewangan Islam ni, kalau saya nak cakap di Maybank ni macam di Malaysia, kita dah well established. Indonesia pun kita dah well established. Maybank Islamic dengan UUS kat Indonesia. Tapi di Singapura kita kan baru. Memang ada Islamic banking, tapi untuk fokus untuk pengurusan kewangan Islam ni kita kan baru juga di Maybank Singapura. So kita punya fokus mainly is, if you comparing between the 3 regional countries, Indonesia, Malaysia, tahap dia punya pengetahuan, awareness lagi tinggi daripada Singapura. Kirakan Singapura macam infancy, baby step. So our main focus during this period is actually to raise the level of awareness dengan pengetahuan antara community, be it whether you are Muslim ke non-Muslims, untuk apa itulah pengurusan kewangan Islam di Maybank Singapura.
So part of this like being on here is also a bit like kita raising awareness lah. So apa yang paling asas, yang paling foundation yang orang nak kena tahu about Islamic investing?
Apa tu pengurusan kewangan Islam?
Macam pengurusan kewangan Islam ni, if you go into the most basic thing is that in Maybank Singapura, kita ada 5 pillars of Islamic wealth. Macam teguh 5 perkara, wealth creation, wealth accumulation, wealth preservation, wealth purification, and wealth distribution. So if you take a look from a perspective, right, untuk awam, right, dia macam common, tetapi dalam pillar 1 to pillar 3 is agnostic. Tak bermakna Muslim ke non-Muslim. Tapi pillar 4 dan pillar 5 it seems to be a bit more Muslims. But if you take a look deeper, macam pillar 4 purification, in the essence it's called zakat and sadaqah, which in conventional term is called donation and philanthropy. Right, which is quite a common topic by itself. Pillar 5, you're talking about wealth distribution. Pillar 5 for distribution is talking about wakaf, wasiat, which is from the Muslim perspective, but from the non-Muslim perspective, it's for estate planning, wealth distribution. So there's a lot of similarities. So the role of what I'm always trying to achieve is that kebanyakan orang tanya, oh, Islamic wealth management, pengurusan kewangan Islam, is it meant only for Muslims? Right? From a simple level, you may have that view, but that's where I want to raise the level of awareness dengan pengetahuan yang pengurusan kewangan Islam ni also meant for non-Muslim. But why non-Muslim? Because if you talk about Sharia compliant, from a non-Muslim perspective, they wouldn't understand. There's no values or there's no linkage.
They can't resonate lah.
Yeah, resonate. Yeah. But if I talk to you that, oh, it's about ethical banking, it's about sustainability, it's about giving back to communities,
ESG.
Yeah, so all this underpins Sharia principles. So, but from a non-Muslim, when they hear that, then it makes more sense. Because I think nowadays more and more investors lebih mengetahui kalau nak invest, they nak invest something that is aligned to their values. You rather put something in money that doesn't go against your core principles. So that's where I want to make Pengurusan Kewangan Islam ni welcoming, available to everyone, no matter your belief. So that's in simple context of what is Islamic Wealth Management dan Pengurusan Kewangan Islam.
Jadi apa yang saya tahulah di kalangan masyarakat Melayu Islam, siapa yang mungkin baru saja belajar tentang halal investing ataupun pelaburan Islam, mereka selalu kaitkan pelaburan Islam mungkin menabur di dalam industri yang mungkin yang berpatuhkan syariah dan pada masa yang sama mengelakkan industri-industri haram. Adakah ia benar atau mungkin ada faktor-faktor di sebalik pengurusan kewangan Islam ni?
To touch on the topic yang Salihin bercakap tu pasal industri-industri ni, I mean typically industri yang in the essence is industri yang tak membuat harm ke masyarakat, instead contribute to the society. I think one of the examples is healthcare, kesihatan, teknologi, energy, real estate. These are the industry that is encouraged, permissible in a way that doesn't put harm to the society. But of course, at the end of the day, that's on the first level. Because if you're talking about halal investing, the first thing is avoid things that is go against the principles of Sharia. Which is the first thing is the core one is riba or interest. So as much as possible kita mengelakkan. The second thing is you're talking about is gara or uncertainty. It's taking or speculating. So that's why if you're talking about bonds, fixed income yang that one is off the table because there's an interest portion. You're talking about derivative that has a lot of speculation. That is also off the table itself. But if you're talking about a derivative or speculation that you know the risk, and the risk is something that is at the contract level, right? Rather, it's not about risk like keluar rumah for the risk kan, kahwin for the risk kan. Tapi it's all about you must be aware of the risk and you know that it doesn't cause harm. So in the basis of it, and it's about giving back to community, society, and not harming other people.
For example, kalau kita nak cakap Sharia compliant, like let's say they do a lot of unnecessary animal testing, would that be considered Sharia compliant?
So that will be, that's the ethical portion of in terms of that also. I guess that's the beauty of Islam or also Sharia itself. There's a lot of discourse, right? Religious scholars, they will tend to have a differing views. Some views that the ends, the means to the end may not be, plays a lot of importance if the end helps the community. But some views that the manner from end to end also must be ethical. So this is the part where the Sharia board or the Sharia authority will give us the guidance in terms of that. Pasal saya ni pun pekerja kan, saya bukanlah ulama ke ustaz je sekarang. Kita all of us at the end of the day we still make our call, but we have a certain level of guidance to show us the right direction.
Jadi apakah perbezaan utama yang kalau kita nak bandingkan pelaburan halal dan juga pelaburan konvensional?
So pelaburan halal ni dia macam ada extra layer. Halal investing is like you're investing, you have a moral compass to your investment strategy. So that's, in summary, we are looking at that. But if you're talking about conventional banking, right? Conventional banking kebanyakan their main purpose is to maximize your returns. There's no ethics or rules beyond that. It's all about maximizing the returns. While for halal investing, there's a set of rules and ethics that you need to follow. And of course, the rules and ethics follows also Sharia principles. So to sum it up, the difference between conventional and halal investing.
So can I ask, so macam kalau pelaburan konvensional tu yang paling penting untuk maximize profit lah, maximize return. Kalau Sharia compliant pelaburan, apa yang paling penting?
Ethical.
But does that mean also that halal investing doesn't give you that same level?
No, actually, so this is something that, I mean, this is ada image and there's this impression that halal investing products is less inferior than conventional. And I think initially there's a sense of truth, ada perkara yang betul behind that kind of statement, right? But that was on the basis of, as of Maybank, just to show Maybank last year we only have 2 Sharia unit trusts. This year itself we have a total of 14 Sharia unit trusts itself. And some of the funds are as good or even better than conventional products. And this is the commitment from Maybank to say that we want to change the direction, and it goes beyond than just unit trusts.
How is the demand of those products that you have just introduced?
It's big demand. I mean, the trend, there's a substantial increase in terms of the subscription, interest, And it was pleasantly surprised because even there's no talk about the religious beliefs itself and whether it's from the non-Muslim perspective, they are looking at the returns. That's why it's important for us when we put a product in the market. It must be make sure that it must be at least the same or even better than conventional product. That's our commitment.
So, adakan etika dalam pelaburan ni tak bermakna yang kita akan sacrifice returns lah.
Yes,
It's not.
correct.
It's not, what's the word, inversely proportional, like, more ethical, less return. It's not like that.
If not, why would you want to invest in the first place, right?
For ethics lah, some people are willing to, it's okay if I make less, but at least I go with a clean conscience or whatever. But now you are saying that it's okay actually, like you can go with a clean conscience and make more money.
Yes. It's given the options and availability to the customer. I think that's what it should be happen. It should be either or.
Tapi saya juga keliru. Kenapa pelabur yang bukan Islam, yang bukan Muslim, mereka tertarik dengan produk-produk Islamic ni? Sedangkan
Dia cakap asal return dia bagus. Apa dia cakap?
Dengan values pun. It's all right. I think sekarang kebanyakan if you conventional space, ada banyak investment. There are so many options for them, right? At the end of the day, if all the products are assuming is the same, giving a comparative return, but if there's attached values behind it, as an individual, would you rather invest in something that goes against your values or something that goes along your values? I think that one is, I think it doesn't make rocket scientists. I think everyone wants to do something that doesn't go at the cost of your principles. So it's not about, at the bottom line, it's not just about making money. It's ensuring your money work hard that does good.
So beautiful.
tadi Encik Halim ada katakan ada sebuah lembaga syariah yang mungkin ditempatkan di dalam institusi bank dan sebagainya. Apakah peranan lembaga syariah ni atau syariah board dan peranan mereka dalam memastikan semua pelaburan yang ditawarkan itu halal?
Look at Sharia board or lembaga Sharia, this macam referee dalam permainan bola.
Pasukan anda yang tadi itulah.
Yeah. They ensure that things play fair. Another example I can give you is the analogy is like for every Sharia compliant product or the equivalent is halal restaurant, right? To have MUIS giving them the cert, they need to do a very thorough or tight screening process. Similarly, for every Sharia compliant product that has the Sharia compliant shop, has to go to a very stringent process. So basically, what they will look, they will analyze, they will measure. Mainly, there's two different aspects. One is the financial ratios and also what the company is doing. So financial ratios is the debt equity ratio to make sure that their profit though doesn't come from lending or they're not over leverage itself. The second portion is in terms of what are the activities that they are doing. And it's not just beyond that. Even if you have the assurance of the Sharia compliant shop itself, right, or the certificate, right, there's another portion. They will regularly audit. They will audit where does this income come from? Is it come from halal sources? Even if it's not halal sources, right, this income that they didn't derive, or like for example interest, right, will need to be purified and given to charity. So for them to still be in the Sharia compliant listing. So that's how strict it is. I mean, if I can give you in terms of Maybank, right, while Maybank Singapore distributes every product that we distribute, not only, let's say for example, Franklin Templeton has their own Sharia advisor or board that approve, right? It will still go through our Maybank Sharia board that is based in Malaysia, headquarters.
This is an internal team lah within Maybank.
Yeah, so it's even 2 layers. So Maybank even ensure it's even more stricter. It's an independent level where this Sharia board in Malaysia is also governed by Bank Negara Malaysia. So it's quite stringent in terms from where Maybank is offering. I think that we have a commitment not only to the Muslim community or the community in large itself to ensure that when we put something in our table, our reputation is also there.
Is there an occasion where you have that external like Sharia board that approve, tapi bila datang ke Maybank pula your internal board?
Ada macam falsafah lain-lain kan. That's the beauty of the region. There's a lot of discourse, right? Macam ada orang cakap fatwa ni ada different, everyone has a different fatwa. At the end of the day, kita Maybank, we are governed by our Maybank Sharia board. There may be a difference of opinion, different mazhab. There's no right and wrong, to be honest. It's just the view of a certain fatwa or certain scholars. If we are empowered Maybank, then we feel that okay, this is the way that we're going to present and this is our position. But doing that doesn't mean that it's wrong. It's just a different way.
Boleh Encik Halim terangkan sekali lagi proses kalau kita nak fund itu certified as Sharia compliant? daripada external punya Sharia board kepada Maybank? What is the entire process like?
If I can say cakap high level here lah. First, we will find out who is the advisors or Sharia advisors that assuming that this fund is offering. Then we will present it to our own Sharia management committee who will evaluate based on the terms and condition. Then we will bring up or we arrange a meeting with our Sharia council to actually present, where the Sharia council will actually evaluate and ensure and analyze. If there's any question, if they can approve it, they agree, they will approve it immediately. If not, they will another session continue. In summary, it will not be under pressure for us to approve it within a certain time frame.
So every investment yang goes out,
Every single
they will
investment.
have a role. They will have to go through the internal board lah. Okay. Saya nak kembali apa yang Encik Halim katakan tadi. Kita mempunyai 5 pillars of Islamic wealth management. Boleh Encik Halim terangkan 5 pillars ini dan kenapa ia penting?
Macam wealth, always start assuming that it's your life journey, right? Macam baru dilahir, untuk sekolah, tak bekerja, ada girlfriend, kahwin, ada anak, retire, semua. So look at it from that customer life journey perspective. Then we go back to the 5 pillars of IWM. The first topic is about wealth creation. You started to create your wealth. This is where you start to work. You want to ask, where should I place my money and what are the Sharia compliant deposit account? It's your simple as your junior savings account, your time deposit, your current account. That's where you start.
How young must you be?
I mean,
At
It's
this
too
stage
late
lah.
now. It's too late already. You should have started when you were like in primary school. Study for your PSLE and also do investment.
I think there's to be. I mean,
No hard and fast rule.
there's no hard and fast rule. I mean, ni semua kemampuan. I mean, we wouldn't know your current financial circumstances, but it's always a good discipline. I always say that your savings is always good. It could be start as 50 cents every day, right? And then your income start to increase. Inshallah, then you start to increase. On a month-to-month basis. Of course, there's always this feeling that you want to spend your money, right? That's where the risk and rewards come into play. But I think if you start disciplining, delay your gratification, you still purchase, but as long as you have the end goal. The more you have an end goal, it's easier for you to do that because you know whatever you do, there's always an end goal towards that. Then if you move to accumulation, then you have quite a decent amount of money.
So now this is the second stage, right?
Yeah.
Wealth accumulation. Okay, what is wealth accumulation?
So you will start to have decent amount. You want to generate a return, or potentially a return that is slightly lebih tinggi daripada pillar 1. But of course, then you start to ask, apa produk-produk yang available? So what are your Sharia compliant in this case? So previously, like what I mentioned, we only have 2 funds, right? But now we have more funds. So what are my options available? But of course, the options available is always about understanding and knowing your risks and your goals and your time horizon. So it's not good enough that you are attracted to the features of this investment. These features also must match your investment goals, your risk appetite. Because at the end of the day, I always tell people, there's no such thing as product yang perfect. At the end of the day, the product must meet your goals and where are your priorities lie. So that's where you start to evaluate your options.
Based on your risk profile lah.
Correct. Sometimes the main aim is, of course, the rule of thumb is kena lagi tinggi daripada kadar inflasi lah. There's always that rule of thumb. So, but of course, your rule of thumb can change it as long as it's better than my saya punya profit daripada saya punya pillar 1 savings account. I'm happy. So at the end of the day, the only one that can manage is yourself and know your expectations. Then of course, when you start to accumulate your wealth, then you start to think that this is where sometimes you start to think that, hey, I'm getting married. Or I have kids already. Then they start to become wealth preservation. Wealth preservation by definition is duit yang disimpan tu kena dijaga. So you start to ask about. So normally typically you're talking about insurance or takaful dalam Sharia compliance itself. So takaful is something that you want to explore to say that I want to preserve my wealth so I can give my nominees. Then you realize that then you move to pillar 4 in terms of from a Muslim perspective, right? Talking about zakat and sadaqah.
So just now, if I can pause you for a while. So pillar 1, 2 and 3 is common, right? Between Muslim and non-Muslim. Everyone goes through that route. So now when you go into transition to pillar 4 and 5, these are Muslim specific.
It's Muslim specific, yes, by virtue, but it's open to, if you demystify it, it's actually open to non-Muslims also.
Yeah, and then pillar 1, 2 and 3 also there's the halal ways of doing it, and then so it can be Muslim specific also kan. Kalau let's say like wealth creation, there's so many ways halal and haram to create wealth, but if we are following the Sharia compliant, then it becomes
So this is the part where the pillar 4, that's why it's very IWM, the way we position it, we want to welcome to everyone. It's how you view certain things, elements. So that's why I mentioned in terms of pillar 4, you may say that Halim, Zakat and Sadaqah is very Muslim nature, very Muslim focused. But if I tell you that, then what about donation? Donation is us. Technically, the direct transaction is sadaqah. It's just the angle, the element behind it itself, right? And zakat is one of our requirements as a Muslim, and we need to give to the different asnaf. While from a non-Muslim perspective, I can give to anyone that I want to donate that is in need itself. So that's where the pillar 4, and we're talking about pillar 4 is purifying. So purifying, this is linked to your pillar 2. So sometimes, assuming that you are Muslim, you are looking for specific Sharia needs. But having said that, there's only not much limited option. So I'm, in a way, based on certain one fatwa darurat, I'm allowed to purchase a conventional product as long as it doesn't go against the Sharia principles. But technically, the income is not purified like the interest portion. You can purify it by giving zakat and sadaqah. So that's where the pillar 4 is called purification itself.
Can you define darurat for wealth accumulation? Like darurat pada saya lah, itu bila benda dah macam dah teruk lah, is emergency. So what do you mean when you say darurat? Because
I can give you a better example if you go for pillar 3. Pillar 3 is about wealth preservation, insurance. But there's no, the Sharia compliance is called takaful. There's no takaful currently as of now. Look out for it in January. But
wow, sempat.
so, but right now, you still need to protect your wealth. You need to have something to give to your children if anything happens to you. Does that mean that you're not even allowed as a Muslim to buy insurance?
According to some people. Depends on who you ask.
So that's the level of discourse, right? Like health insurance, etc. You still need to buy. So that's a more example of what do you mean by darurat itself. But at the end of the day, you do not want your children to suffer in the event of your loss itself. Then comes to pillar 5. So the pillar 5, if you're talking about Muslim, you're talking about the faraid, the wealth distribution technically. And you're talking about wakaf. Technically, it's trust foundation itself. But of course, the treatment of wealth distribution is a bit different when you apply the faraid portion to give to the community, to give to your, according to the laws, how many percentage given to your children, your wife, etc. Right? While there's of course there's hibah also at the same time. So that's where the difference is. But if you demystify it, technically these are the same. But where we want to offer is options. Last time you do not have options, right? You may not know where to go. You don't know what to do. So we as an organization, we want to give you the option, that level of knowledge. And we may not be the one doing it, but we are able to give you the source and direct you. So the community is aware. Then I guessing the end goal that the darurat application, right, may not be so applicable with more and more options given.
Is it correct to say that all these 5 pillars, when you reach stage 5 especially, it happens in conjunction, right, with one another? You don't stop pillar 4 when you're going to pillar 5 and so on. You're still creating that wealth, you're still preserving it and so on.
Like for example, pillar 5 can directly link to pillar 3, where your faraid, when you do a takaful, you can nominate by itself. So it's all interlinked. It's not a standalone. It's a total holistic advisory.
So what's the end goal of having these 5 pillars for Muslims?
End goal is basically when it is helpful, it is required for you to grow your wealth. But growing your wealth is at the end of goal, is it for who? The niyat. Growing your wealth to give back to community. That is the encourage. It's not just about growing your wealth and doing good and giving back to community. That's your end goal as a Muslim.
Tapi from our discussion, kita macam tumbuh kita punya kekayaan untuk pass down macam untuk anak-anak kita or whatever. But how would you give back to the community? Is there also like products for that?
In general, we will kasih macam wasiat, right? They will facilitate the wasiat. Even your current investment, you say that assuming that you'll be receiving $100 a month as a dividend, right? Or as a profit on a monthly basis, you can decide, say, out of this $100, $20 I want to give to the different charitable organization. We can facilitate that for you. We have the option to offer to you. Rather than you need to find yourself. Sometimes, itu semua sibuk-sibuk kan. Kadang-kadang nak plan $20.
Macam banyak sangat nak fikir.
Banyak fikir. That's where from a customer journey experience, we put ourselves in your shoes. As an individual customer, what are my pain points? And how can I make it easy but at the same time, easy, but I still achieve my religious obligation. That's one thing. Or my ethical obligation. That's one thing. So that's where the Maybank or our vision, how we are planning our products. Not just about products. I think product portion, there's many much product. I think it goes beyond that. That's how we develop the relationship between customers and organization.
Tapi kalau kita nak buat sendiri, boleh lah.
Boleh.
Like, this is just something that you offer. Do other banks offer it too?
I mean, I cannot speak for other banks. I hope so. I think I can only, of course, the Maybank kan. Kita shout out Maybank kan. Kan Maybank kan cakap apa, humanizing financial services.
We can shout out Maybank because they are sponsoring this episode. Shout out to Maybank.
Yes, I mean that's our end goal. I mean, at the end of the day, we want to help the customers. That's the main aim. Personally, on my own personal, it's not just a job for me. It's about educating and enriching the community.
So definitely Maybank, they have the products, they have the services to support lah through the 5 pillars. Right? But how do you make sure that you customize it based on the individual, and how do you make sure it syncs throughout these 5 pillars? Because they are different products, right? Available for different pillars. But so how do you make sure that it covers all these 5 pillars, and how does it customize?
Actually, we do regular customers research, kita go on the ground. So we actually engage to actually have focus group session. And of course, for us, kita pun reach out kepada Malay Muslim organisation, charity organisation to understand what are their pain points, how we can assist them. For example, progressive investment, we do work with progressive investment to do the IWASIAT. It is something, so it's not just Maybank alone. Of course, we definitely welcome partners. We reach out to organizations to say how can we help you, or what is your pain point, how we can make this better for the community as well. So I think every success, it shouldn't be done alone. I think it should be a collective success. So that's what we are aiming also.
So you were saying you dah buat focus groups, individual, reach out to the community. Then what is your pandangan based on the community right now? Are they receptive of these 5 pillars of IWM? Or is there still room for improvement in terms of the awareness?
The initial part is talking about 5 pillars of Islamic wealth management. Ada orang cakap, Halim, ni macam rukun Islam je. Macam, you want to play on rukun Islam? Bukan rukun Islam. We will not play on words, right? We are very particular in terms of that. I think what we realize that, one, people are welcoming. People want us to actually offer the options itself. Second, what we realize is that the level of awareness and education is very infancy. I mean, if you talk about time deposit that's Sharia compliant, in Malaysia, Indonesia, there's no such question. It's like, why is this product Sharia compliant? Dia apa underlying dia punya Islamic contract in terms of that? But in Singapore, you would have such questions. Because again, I think even for Muslims, the level of understanding is not there. And this is something that I hope that we can elevate.
I have a different opinion. Macam pada saya, pasal kat Malaysia atau Indonesia, ni kalau kita cakap pasal makan lah, macam kat sana saya tak payah was-was. Saya tahu makanan tu halal. You know what I mean? Tapi kat sini, because sebagai orang Islam, kita minority. So, kita selalu ada tu was-was. Betul ke benda ni halal? Betul ke benda ni syariah compliant? So, maybe it's not a lack of understanding, but it's that like I have to be sure.
The trust, right?
Yeah.
I think you are on point on that. I think that is why I guess it helped in a way that Maybank is the top 5 largest in terms of assets, in terms of Islamic banks in the world. Regionally, we are number 1 Islamic bank in the world. So that helps the level of credit and trust when we go out to the market. Of course, if you're talking about other banks, you may have that kind of level of questions in terms of that. So that helps itself, and you are exactly right on that, on point itself. So that's why it's important for us to, especially the Sharia board, the lembaga Sharia comes into play. Because most people think that
Kan lah kau saya lembaga macam lembaga syariah. Jauh.
Itu lembaga lain.
Lembaga also means like, you know, like a figure,
Yeah,
like a
shadow.
shadowed figure. Then I'm like, so nama dia lembaga. Macam seram je. Kau biar betul sekali.
dia cari vocabulary dari tukar.
Okay, sorry, yes. Lembaga syariah.
So just now, apa ya? Allah mati antara. So you were saying tadi mungkin tahap awareness kan dalam masyarakat Melayu Islam mungkin belum begitu tinggi lah dalam kewangan Islam. Tapi dalam kewangan in general also, in your general finances, your personal finances, I don't think we have reached that stage. Especially when you're talking about Malay Muslims in Singapore.
Skim cepat kaya banyak
Yes. The
forever.
information is very fragmented and we have drastic levels. So How does Maybank perhaps can solve this issue?
So I always bercakap dengan client-client semua ni kan. I hope that you can trust me. Percaya. But even if you don't trust is very important. But even if you don't trust me as an individual, you must do understand that we have a financial organisation which is a Maybank behind me, which is governed by MAS. In the event I disappear, hilang, pergi Batam ke something kan.
Dia dah bilang dia nak pergi mana juga. Dia hilang cari dia kat Batam.
But there is still Maybank, right? That you still have MAS behind you to regulate. I think so. You must always have this vision of view. It's important to invest or put money in something that you trusted, but go beyond that. Always take an additional step. So what happened if this person is not available? What are my resources? Even if you say that this is Sharia compliant approved by who? All these things ada soalan-soalan yang penting hendak ditanya. It's uncomfortable, yes, but I think it's a valid, important question.
Jadi bagi seseorang individu Melayu Islam di Singapura, mereka nak mulakan perjalanan pengurusan kewangan Islam mereka tersendiri, apakah tips-tips yang mungkin Encik Halim boleh bagi diorang?
First, I think kena have a goal in mind, have a commitment, how much you want to put. Read up. I think dulu nak cari informasi suka senang. Dalam zaman Google, internet kan. Informasi
Sekarang maklumat free.
is all available there. If you're not sure, the banks are right now always welcome, right? You can just drop an email, give a call. We are all well. You can try to find out. You can even set an appointment. No obligation. It's there. The resources is there. Nowadays, banks are everywhere, online and physical also. So it's rather about nak ke tak nak, the effort level basis, rather than not sure. Not sure and doing something vis-a-vis to tak tahu tak nak buat, berbeza.
You ada nampak lah based on your focus group, your efforts currently that Maybank has done at the grassroots level, at the community. They have actually gained from it lah.
InsyaAllah, yeah, Alhamdulillah. I think there's something that I feel that I validate. How do I say that I deem pengurusan kewangan Islam di Maybank Singapore is a success? How I deem it is that it is part of the wealth proposition of customers. So it should be a part of wealth proposition rather than a standalone, something exotic or unique. I want it to be a part as a normal conversation. That I will be deemed as a success.
So for Maybank, macam just to check, orang yang datang nak berbual kat bank, nak melabur, is it only macam orang yang dah kaya raya ataupun ada orang biasa-biasa yang tak banyak duit tapi nak start, maybe students, maybe orang yang baru dapat duit CPF walaupun sikit dia nak invest? Ada tak?
Ada. The good thing is that ada, and this is something that kita welcome in open arms. I think the question is always, saya nak melabur kena banyak duit. Sekarang kebanyakan pelaburan, you can start as minimum as $1,000 pun ada. Nak savings plan pun ada, 500, 200 pun ada. So as long as that discipline and end goal, right, you want to achieve, kita akan welcome. It's encouraged rather than Sinoman apa?
Senoman. Duit rolling.
The olden days, right?
Yeah. But that is like one of the original wealth management.
Correct.
Everybody pull their money. So to our listeners yang tak tahu senoman tu apa, kirakan macam let's say kita 3 orang kita 3, duit kita okay je, tapi kita let's say saya nak buka business, saya nak buka kedai kek. Jadi kita semua pull together, seorang kasih macam
perlu lah
30 macam mana nak bikin kek? Tak boleh, tak cukup. Nak beli mesin semua tak boleh. So seorang 1,000 katalah. Jadi saya dapat 3,000. 3,000 ni saya invest dalam saya punya business, saya apa-apa. Bila saya dah dapat 3,000 balik, next pass kat Salihin pula nak pergi buat what you want to do with 3,000.
Buka business jual kereta lah.
Dengan 3,000, kereta apa?
Cuci kereta.
Okay, so gitulah. It's like a community wealth management scheme.
It's refreshing that you also know.
Yeah. I think it's good lah. Macam that was the original way that kita take care of each other. So it's nice to hear that, like, it's evolving now. There's a new way that we are helping to take care of our community.
Is it relevant only for masyarakat Melayu, this rolling wealth thing?
I mean, the word senoman, I only know masyarakat Melayu lah, but I don't know if this is relevant to other communities.
So balik kepada perbincangan 5 pillars kita of Islamic wealth management, adakah ini merupakan satu perkara yang mustahak bagi setiap orang Muslim kalau mereka ingin uruskan wang mereka dengan secara Islamik, ataupun ia sekadar guidance saja?
Untuk saya, pengurusan kewangan Islam ni, people will talk about the framework, right? But I think it goes beyond the framework. it's not good enough to understand the rules. It's to understand why the rules was created. I think that the most importantly, I think the key takeaway, if I cakap, is that dia bukan sekadar framework aja. Dia making sure that to know that your duit is aligned to your values, and actually it doesn't matter what's your religious belief, because at the end of the day, you want to know that not only you want to maximize your return, but your returns will come from a greater good. So that's the key takeaway that I hope that the listeners get from this session.
It's based on values lah. You have that added layer of ethical.
Correct.
So sebagai penutup, terima kasih Encik Abdul Halim kerana sudi datang ke podcast kami. Apa yang saya belajar dari episod ni agak menarik. Kita mempunyai 5 pillars lah of Islamic wealth management, starting all the way from wealth creation, accumulation, then you have your preservation, and then purification, and of course lastly you have your distribution lah. So what saya belajar is that this IWM punya framework is holistic, then it's not a hard and fast rule for all Muslims in Singapore, tapi is a very well established guidance lah, that of course Maybank has put up and aligning your products and services based on this framework. And on your end pula, is there anything that you want to tell our viewers yang mungkin wants to start their 5 pillars punya journey?
So if I say that for Maybank itself, I mean for halal investing, the key takeaways I would say is that it's just about starting not just a framework again, like what you mentioned, but it's more of us offering a service that actually achieve your goals and doing it in a Sharia compliant way, or doing something for the community itself. So do reach out to any of us in Maybank itself. We have 18 branches. You can all the RMs actually has undergone IWM foundational training, so they are well equipped to have that conversation with you. We are most welcome for you to come down, either via inquiry by email or drop into the branch. You're most welcome. But again, thank you again for your time.
Yes, and certainly as someone who's been in Islamic finance industry, I've seen the work that Maybank has done for our Malay Muslim community, and certainly they are actually leading the pack lah, in terms of right now you have different banks, right, in Singapore, but I think Maybank has done a lot of good work for the community, and they have an established process. So yeah, terima kasih Encik Abdul Halim kerana sudi datang.
Assalamualaikum.
Yeah, and terima kasih to all our listeners. Please like, share and subscribe. Thank you to the Financial Coconut for creating the Kaya Raya podcast, and thank you to Maybank for sponsoring us. If you also got Islamic products, then you want to say you also have, you can also sponsor us. Okay. Thank you everybody for listening. Bye.